Be advised, mature content ahead. This podcast is brought to you ad-free thanks to the Legion of Demons at patreon.com/NOTLP. If you like what you hear, there's much more at patreon.com/NOTLP. Join the Legion. That's patreon.com/NOTLP. And now the show.
How do you do? Just a word of friendly warning. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
Give me all your popcorn, all your love and kisses too.
I can't eat popcorn anymore, so I can only give you love and kisses.
I didn't realize that was also not keto.
What's corn?
Fuck corn. That's Kelley. Andy's here.
I love popcorn.
Andy made the best pumpkin vinegar pie.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Dude, I love vinegar pie. He made it.
It's real easy. You just pour vinegar in a pie shell and bake it.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I like those videos you see on the internet where someone takes something and they just touch something to it and all of a sudden it's whipped cream.
Yeah.
Amy's here.
Yep.
Freddie loves whipped cream videos.
I
love whipped
That's my
cream.
favorite subreddit.
Yeah.
That's what
whipped
I'm here to tell you.
This show is brought to you by the love and support of our patrons at patreon.com/NOTLP.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're right. No, I was going to add something and then I realized it was redundant. And so I stopped it.
I've been made redundant.
No, what I said was going to be redundant. You are not redundant. You would have rendered what I was going to say redundant by saying the thing first that I was going to redundantly re-say in a different way.
Oh, we're circling the drain.
And now I didn't say it.
Wait, we were just right before we started. We were laughing about some shit. Now I can't even remember what it was.
But it was funny.
It was
the
funny.
radio.
You were introducing us.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about the radio. And how we used to tape songs off the radio.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how you built a music collection.
We talked a lot. We talked about a lot of things.
We did.
Was it about the subreddits or is it about Ugly Kid Joe?
Yeah.
About a lot of things.
It was about the Ugly Kid Joe nude self-Reddit. Subreddit.
Self-Reddit.
Surprisingly, the most subscribed Reddit.
It is.
Like, we're old. And so we remember the days where we had to make a cassette to record the radio so we would have a chance to have a version of our favorite song.
Without having to purchase, especially if they only had one good song.
That's why we had dual tape decks too, so that we could do what Kelley was talking about before the show. I did the same thing where we would record the song off the radio and then we would use that as a master. And the other deck, you could play that back and record what you wanted from it on a new tape. I think that's what led a lot of kids of the 80s to become editors and stuff.
Yeah.
Is because we had to know how to do that if you didn't have money to buy albums.
I made my own multi-track setup with 2 boom boxes.
Yeah.
And multi-track recorded guitar stuff. So take that.
Take that.
Kids these days.
Yeah.
Kids these days. I don't know what's wrong with these kids these days.
But then that reminded me of another conversation I had last night. We were out to dinner. It was Andy, me, Freddy, and Mikey B. And Andy was driving and was playing Newfound Glory.
Oh my God.
Which is not something I enjoy, but I love that you do. Okay, Andy, I love that you do.
Thank you for that. Thank you for not patronizing me.
I love that for you.
Good for you.
Bless your heart.
Speaking of being patronized.
Right. So Mike was like, did you know that like kids nowadays, they're wearing their Nirvana shirts or whatever? Like he was saying that the kids don't know that emo and grunge are 2 different things.
Yeah.
They are vastly different. Nirvana is not the same.
But it did open
Glory.
it's not the same, but it opened the way.
But it opened exactly like they're cousin genres, but they are not the same.
They're not the same.
I mean, that's the story
They
of
don't
music,
know.
man.
They don't
of
know.
the music, man. The story of music. You dig in what layer you get to first, and then you're like an archaeologist. You dig down to those other layers. If you love music, you're going to keep digging, and before you know it, you're going to be listening to some jangly record recording from like the fucking Library of Congress at 3 a.m. because you can't sleep, and you're like, so that's the first time someone used spoons for a musical instrument, or that's a recording of this singer who made a deal with the devil, or this guy who took his rib out to suck his own dick.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of being a fan of music.
You can find all of that on the Library of Congress.
It's all there.
I think we were thanking our love and supporting patrons.
Yes.
We
Our
were.
loving and supporting patrons.
All of our patrons know the difference between grunge and emo.
Probably. They know
They're
so.
not stupid.
Our patrons, being part of this music league, which on our Discord server, Discord's one of the benefits you get when you are a patron.
I had to bow out of this week's.
Oh, did you?
I didn't have a song.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait,
So
what
they're doing the music league. And what was this week's theme?
that you found on social media?
social media.
Yeah.
I've put a lot of things on social media.
But you haven't-
Kelly is
you've
not
never
here
found
for your
another
bullshit
artist?
recommendations.
So like I was on
Well, isn't that how you find all music nowadays?
well, yeah.
No.
I mean, there's
I
a
use the
difference.
algorithms of my streaming service.
Me
I
too.
think the main difference too is when you're on social media, and I thought this was a weird mix, this playlist, because some things were like somebody chose The Weeknd.
Yeah.
And to me, he had huge, mainstream exposure. Almost everyone in the country knows who he is. He's parodied on SNL and everything. But somebody did discover him through social media, so that was their pick. And like I thought of like something that I would not have discovered had it not been for social media. And I remember one night on Reddit, they have a live broadcast, and whatever's popular stays on top. And there was a band on there called Fish in a Birdcage, and I fucking love them. And it's one of those weird things that I happened to be on Reddit at that time, and found that.
I'm sorry.
Jesus, Andy.
That was disgusting. Could you finish that bowl of gruel outside, please? And you wash off that.
It's a
perfume.
big bowl, though. I'm going to be a while.
But like that part of it just kind of it blows my mind, because you don't know like what are people's channels,
Yeah.
like well, how are you getting to the media? It blows my mind.
Man.
See, that's the problem. There's too much music out there. Same thing with all other media.
Yeah.
Too much TV.
Andy doesn't want
Too many movies.
too many choices.
Too much content being created.
That's is why, like, when you look up my Apple music playlists, it's all old shit because
Yeah.
I'm used to it. I know.
Yeah, but there's a lot of old
Yeah.
shit you don't
Yeah.
know. Like,
That's true. Like again, you could keep digging.
I've been in a real weird 70s loop for a while.
Yeah.
And there's stuff from the 70s, obviously, because I wasn't alive, that I'm still discovering.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Nope, I've heard it all.
Okay. Nanny's
And
sticking
also,
with newfound glory.
these algorithms that these different services have become really accurate. That if you like enough old stuff, they'll find new stuff that you'll like, and you'll be like, well, how can a machine really understand me? But somehow they figure that shit out.
That's mostly how I've discovered 99% of what I listen to now is from it being recommended to me based on the playlist that I've made.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, well, if you like everything on this playlist that you put together, you're going to like these things. And I do.
You got to feed and care for that stuff too. You
I
gotta
do.
hit
I carefully curate.
your dislike and your like buttons, and before you
I
know
don't
it,
use those though.
you'll get new
Yeah,
music.
I don't rate shit.
I don't rate things, but I do curate.
See, if I don't like something, my rule is if I'm like, I don't like this at all, I give it the thumb down and hit the next. And I'll do that with like, I'll churn and burn through like the new release playlists all the time. And most of the shit I don't like, but like,
Because he's old.
I'm old man. But I'll tell you, man, I've found all kinds of great shit that way, just by disliking a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then liking very certain things.
See?
And before you know it, all you get
Being-
is AC/DC.
Being hateful is productive.
See, I feel there's only a certain amount of space in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And if I add too much new stuff, I'm going to forget the old stuff.
Oh, yeah. It'll just squirt out your butt.
Most of the new stuff I listen to, though, to be fair, sounds like old stuff.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
What if we were that way with food? We're like, most of the food I eat today tastes old.
Ooh, throwback foods.
Well, we're just watching this
Hot
show,
Dr. Pepper.
The Life and Times of Tim,
Yeah.
which has been out since 2008.
what?
Yeah.
And we're just discovering it's new to us.
What is
and
it?
It's
Life
great.
and Times of who?
Tim.
It's on
Tim.
HBO.
The Toolman Taylor.
It's animated. It's very
yeah.
funny.
It's really funny. It's just this like
We just
30
discovered
something.
it.
who lives in New York, and he's always a victim
terrible.
of his own
Nick
bad.
Kroll does a voice.
Yeah. He's got no spine. People talk him into things, and things get haywire. It's similar to Curb Your Enthusiasm. The type of setups and stuff. It's very funny.
I'm in the. I think I'm either on the last season, like which is the new one, or the second to the last, which is the one right before the new one of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Who's on first?
Do they acknowledge COVID in it at all?
Oh, they feel like they could get a lot of good comedy out of that.
I don't remember now. I don't think so. No,
I wonder if the last season is.
If they did, I'm missing that because of all the other funny shit.
Yeah.
So many shows like started off incorporating COVID and have just like petered out because they got bored with it.
Yeah.
Also, I think, people kind of don't want to see it. They don't want to be reminded of it when they're trying to watch,
Yeah.
the will they won't they on their favorite sitcom. Now their mouths are covered.
Yeah.
Oh.
They can't even hook up because their mouths are covered.
When they pull their mask down, the audience is like, woo! Woo!
I like to think of a 1980s style sitcom, but done in the pandemic style, and that being a part of it.
So we just finished Blossom, all of Blossom.
Whoa!
What a terrible last season. But anyway,
they stretched their goodbye out over 7 episodes.
it was ridiculous.
How
But
did Ted Wass finish up?
fine.
Yeah.
He was going to
Is
have
he still
another
writing,
baby.
His
So-
mullet,
Doing
his,
jingles.
like perfect mullet proportions.
Yeah.
Still writing jingles?
Yeah.
So does like Blossom go to college or something?
Yes.
Did she bloom?
She blossoms.
She blooms and blossoms. But there was a scene.
6 becomes 7. Finally.
7, 8, 9. That was a really sick episode.
Like there's a scene where the little stepdaughter who was brought in the last season because
Right.
they had to
The fixer.
and she's like 6, and then her little friend who's also
There's
like
2
6.
6s?
No, the age, you ding dong.
They should also call the fixer the harbinger because it's also the
Ted
the doom.
McGinley.
They brought
Yeah.
a dog in too. It was crazy.
They threw everything on it. Then they gave the kid a friend.
So the little girl has her little guy friend, and they're both like kindergarten age, and she makes a comment that
They're
she's
trying to catch that Michelle Tanner
demo. Yeah,
You
that
gotta get
magic.
2 little kids making sassy comments
Well, the
together.
little girl's English when she first shows up, and then she's not.
Then she's not,
Oh,
but
she assimilated.
she's a little girl, and she makes a comment that she's going to kiss the little boy, and the audience does the.
Oh yeah, they're like, woo!
I'm like, these are 2 little children.
Yeah, and so it's like, yes, yes.
Take it
Oh,
back.
it's like Married with Children, like Kelly Bundy walked in or something.
Yes. Take yourselves to the FBI and
Yeah.
ask to be put on a list.
What's funny is that probably wasn't even a real studio audience. That was like Foley work.
Well, a lot of those. There's like one guy who is famous for being like the master of applying a laugh track to a sitcom.
Yeah.
and a lot of that stuff is engineered where he's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to put a guffaw there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's going to fart. He's going to laugh so hard he cries. All at my fingertips. I'm God. Now I know what
Heavy
it is
footsteps,
to be God.
light footsteps.
Yeah.
Too heavy of footsteps, clicky footsteps.
So-
Sometimes I felt like they went too heavy with the clicky footsteps in the Foley.
I love the clip clop of wooden heels on tiles and like.
Ooh, it
in-
bothers me.
in drama shows. It's ASMR.
It
I
bothers
like
me.
it.
Kind of.
It also bothers me to hear the click clack of keyboards.
Me too.
Like,
I don't like it when someone has a
can't
piece of hard
stand it.
candy in
I
their
like
mouth.
that.
a hard candy doesn't bother me. Click clack of keyboards. I will like fucking become American Psycho. Like, I will just.
It's like my pappy always said, click clacks never bothered me
Oh, so that's how we unlock
until I had a keyboard.
the secret soldier in you.
I go. That's. I will go evil angel if you start click clacking on.
I swear to fucking God, if you click clack.
Have
so
we?
It disgusts
Yeah.
did they
me.
eventually kiss? And did the crowd go, oh.
No, that never happened.
Oh.
So it was a won't they?
It's a won't
They would have
thing.
been like, it was the first interracial kiss between 2 5-year-olds on network television that was screamed to by an audience of adults. We've made progress, people.
We overshot.
Oh God.
Open mouths.
So have we talked about our new theme for the month?
It's First Do No Farm.
Yeah.
Which Andy said, Andy comes up with these titles usually.
There's no doctor necessary. I just want to put that out
We
there.
had this. I started.
No, not we. You had this
My
conversation.
brain. I didn't converse about it with myself, Andy. I did bring it up to you. That's why it's weird.
It was a one-sided conversation. We were like, no,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Well, I was listening to you said. I just wanted to do movie set on farms so we could talk about Dark and the Wicked because I liked it so
It's a
much.
good movie.
Which is our main attraction
Great
this
movie.
week. But,
No but.
no, but I was like, first do no harm is the Hippocratic oath that doctors take. So I'm like, okay, so we're like, do we incorporate?
It was just funny.
I know, but then I'm like, do you add a doctor? Are these films that have to have a doctor and a farm in them? And
It's
then
just
I
about
thought,
the rhyme.
and then something happened to me.
You snapped.
I had an occurrence.
How come you didn't think
An
about
occurrence.
this so hard when we had Shania Twain month?
Yeah.
I did, and I didn't want to bring it up because I was like, "There's no way Shania Twain was in any Train movies. The universe isn't that kind."
None of these train movies involve country music or pop
We
music.
didn't, we didn't do any Kirstie Alley movies for Kirstie Alley month.
Yeah,
No, we
Freddy.
didn't. But for some reason, this one, led me to this line of
dark
thought
place.
instead.
Yeah.
And I realized I think every movie with a farm in it has a doctor in it anyway.
Yeah, they have to.
That's always some point where the doctor comes out to the farm and is like, "This is a real bad case of being cut in half."
It's something that SAG includes in their rules. There has to be
Yes.
A saggy farmer.
I
You
think
know.
in the two movies we have selected, there happens to be a doctor, but for the person who's going to win to select the third, don't worry.
Don't worry.
So
Just
next
don't worry
week will
about it.
be the new Paranormal Activity.
Yes, so get to watching because
Which
we're going
is-
to spoil it.
What's it called again?
Peacock?
Next of Kin.
Oh, next,
Next of Kin. Peacock.
It's on Peacock.
It's on-
Paranormal Activity Peacock. It's about it's the night camera at the Peacock exhibit in the zoo. Some weird shit happens.
I would imagine.
It's not what you think.
It's just peacocks.
Bill Cosby shows up on that big bird from Leonard Part 6.
Yep. And he explains that there was no Leonard's Part 1 through 5.
And he just stands there in the frame and they do that thing where they time lapse to morning and he's just like, he's just almost perfectly still, except just there's a little bit of shifting that makes it extra scary. And also it's Bill Cosby, so it's already scary, but then it's worse.
This is not a dream.
And he's still on the bird the whole time?
He's on the bird the whole time. And then when she wakes up, that's what those footprints she found in the first movie were.
Oh, it's the birds.
It was the bird from Leonard Part 6 that left those weird footprints by Katie's bed.
I feel like that movie was made solely for Hardee's to sell like kids' meals.
Oh, I got the fucking camera.
Yeah.
They had a spy camera for Leonard Part 6.
They had all kinds of shit. Hardee's was real big into tie-ins.
I had no memory of ever eating Hardee's, but had the camera.
I ate Hardee's. I had the Gremlins set, and which I almost got at the Gremlins.
Do you think anybody went back to confront their parents about a toy they have from a meal, but then they're like, "I never had this meal"? So they take it and they go home, and they haven't seen their parents in like 15 years, and something's been wrong, Like they've always had a bad feeling about their relationship with them, and they're like, "This Land Before Time toy, I just saw on the internet that this was given out at McDonald's, but when we were kids, you never let us have McDonald's ever once."
It turns out it was from their other family.
I thought you gave
It was their
this
dad's
is my Christmas
other
present.
family.
Yeah, it happens. I'm sure.
He took them to McDonald's
The
all
other
the time.
family,
Yeah.
and he gives the toys because of the guilt.
Yeah.
So, NOTLP, down on the farm.
Yeah.
First you know.
First, do no farm.
NOTLP, first do know.
See,
First you know farm.
see now, if you had said down on the farm, I would have been like, that makes perfectly clean sense to me.
But that's
I
just too,
like Andy's. It's funny.
But it
that's
doesn't
just too
rhyme.
straightforward.
Yeah.
And then we could be like down on the farm with a PH, and we could make it as a month about pharmaceuticals.
Maybe we will. Maybe from now on, November
It's
will always be
first do know.
farm or farm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's awesome. Oh, Origins. We released Origins, which was our 2009 year in review.
It was.
There's a big, ugly bit in the middle that I was real ashamed of on that one. So,
Yeah.
Whatever is what it is. But listen, if you want to check that out.
Well, in our defense, we are big and ugly too.
It's the cold sore on an otherwise beautiful set of lips.
Right.
Pristine, except for that one cold sore.
Yeah.
And I want
It's very pronounced.
I'm gonna tease my I'm gonna tease my hair. I've been thinking about it. I want to go full Farrah Fawcett.
All right.
I'm gonna tease my Topicana.
Yeah, tease it.
Right now? All right.
Yeah, just before I forget, because whenever we say we're gonna tease it and we save it to the end, we forget to do it.
Yeah, good thinking.
So this is another thing you get for being a patron. This whole show Topicana, which is just us having a blast. Okay.
Yes.
The question I have for you guys is you need to pick a story. It can be source material, it can be a movie, book, whatever, but you're going to make a movie with the Muppets.
Yep.
So you want to think about like how you cast your Muppets, what the settings
I'm
like.
very excited to do this. I've been thinking about it.
I think it's going to be fun.
My movie is Muppets Take Manhattan.
Oh, wow.
But it's
Easy.
Jason.
Yeah.
Jason takes Muppatton.
By the way, you remember how I said earlier if I relax my brain, I'd remember why I brought up Judy Justice?
Yeah.
Do you remember? This is not on the air.
And I'm so glad because this is an on the air kind of story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we just started watching Judy Justice, Alise and I, on IMDb TV, free with ads. If you love Judge Judy and you want her in your life, this is where you get her now.
She buys herself a new Nissan Maxima every year.
She has 2 new characters and you're like, what are they doing here? And it never makes sense. I think she just wanted people to be around her. And in the first episode, it's like this goofy custody money thing, but they have to read, it's the girlfriend suing the baby daddy for something. And he is just a complete California toolbox.
Oh, dear.
Like he's like, I moved to Visalia from Fresno. And this dude, you're like, oh, this dude. But anyway, they have to read this exchange from his text.
I'm laughing because you're laughing.
Yeah, I'm really laughing because I know
To
it's gonna be
prove
great.
like that he said he would pay for something.
Right.
And she asked him to read the text. And the text to the ex-girlfriend is, I'll give you the money as long as you keep giving me stink every week. What do you think that means?
It could be. It's either
What do
weed
you think it means?
or she's eating his butthole out.
See, I thought it was sexual, but it's probably weed.
I like the sexual. I think it's butt sex.
Their daughter's nickname, he calls her Stinky.
Oh my god!
And when he reads that text first, he's like, as long as you keep giving me stink every week. And we're like, what? And it was one of the greatest things I've ever
That's
heard.
actually a really adorable nickname. Now that
I think I'm not into it.
because I call Elsa Stinky,
But she's a dog.
and she's a dog. But for a person,
Kids
yeah.
don't like being called that.
Yeah, and it's if your child's nickname is Stinky, that's a reflection on your parenting
Or
skills.
sticky,
Sticky.
grimy.
Like everybody knows dogs smell.
My
kids
child's
should-
nickname is
Filthy.
Gross.
Yeah.
But I now I'm gonna call it sex stink.
Come here, Big Ben.
Give me some stink.
Don't you want any pink? Nope. Just
the stink.
Every week, I gotta bring you your weekly stink. Ooh, we got a weekly stink.
Hey,
Seems like a boner killer.
Yeah.
I'm ovulating. I have to give you the stink only.
They call me C. They call me Stink.
I'm so glad you remembered.
Yeah, me too.
Not my name.
All right. Are we ready?
Let's move it. Let's
sure.
move into a different phase.
Hello, boys and girls. It's time for straight to video Russian roulette.
Summer. This one started out just like the last one.
So excited about tonight. What you got going till then?
Gotta go see my mom.
I'm better. I've been better for months.
Maybe you could just come home then.
Ain't that easy, baby girl.
We didn't know it yet. Hey, Chris.
Do I know you?
But this summer. What the? Hey, leave him alone! Was about to be very different.
If I tell you what I have to tell you, you have to promise to believe me no matter what.
Oh, what
What is that?
I got attacked.
Oh my god. Are you
By a group of homeless vampires.
bitch?
I didn't know who was responsible, but I was gonna make them pay.
There's fire and decapitation.
Got your ass back. Maybe we should just go.
I think we use a wooden stake.
What?
They're vampires, duh. I had a plan. Revenge.
Look deep into my eyes. Do you know where you are?
I can't remember.
Go!
Don't be scared.
Bang.
This looks good.
It was good. I want to put it out there when we got to the part in the movie where that guy says, "You know where we are, where you are." Alise made a. She went, "You're in the jungle, baby."
That's what we do every time somebody says that too.
That was pretty great.
She's family.
Yeah. It. So this is a good movie. This is a big recommend from me.
What's it called?
It's called Black as Night, and this is a vampire movie. And it takes place in New Orleans now, post Katrina. Katrina is a looming sort of event in this movie. And I'm going to tell you, when you start off, you got to give it a minute, because for a couple of reasons. First of all, it is very low budget. So like it looks low budget, and
Is it a comedy?
not really.
Okay, it's not, the trailer led me to believe it was a comedy.
I mean, there are humorous moments, but it's not a horror comedy. I would not classify it that. And
Gave me Lost Boy vibes a little from that trailer.
well, it pulls from a lot of good modern vampire. It pulls from a lot of just vampire stuff in general, including there's definitely Lost Boys inspiration, Let the Right One In inspiration. There's all kinds of vampire stuff that comes into this. So whoever made this definitely enjoys, their vampire movies. But at first, so it's like I said, it's low budget, and then the HD I think makes it look cheaper. It starts to look like a super cheap like sci-fi movie, and like the very first like minute of dialogue between the first two characters, at first you're like, this is very weird, and you think it's going to be kind of shitty. Well, let me rephrase that. I thought that. I don't know what you'll think. I can't possibly know or predict what you'll think about this. You might be like, Kelley, how dare you say that? I thought it sounded perfect from the get. Or, Kelley, how dare you say that? I thought it sounded good from the get, and then it got shitty when you said it got good. So I can't predict that. But what I'm saying is, at first, I thought, oh, this is super cheap, low rent, blah, blah,
Okay,
blah.
can I ask, how do they have vampire makeup?
They do have vampire makeup.
Okay, is it any good?
It's okay.
Okay.
Actually, the makeup is pretty good.
Because I feel like I kind of judge vampire movies on the makeup, because it can go bad real easily.
Well, I also want to say one other technical thing, and this maybe plays into it. No, the vampire makeup is fine. You actually don't see it up close a lot, because they do play to their budget a little bit, very, very wisely. There are scenes that, at least again on my TV, it was really dark and hard to see the action, and we turned the brightness up, and then it was a little easier to see what was going on. So like some of the camera work, I think, or the lighting, again, maybe a budgetary reason, or again to kind of cover things, it got really dark in sort of the climax where there are a lot of action scenes. But those things being said, it is actually a really good movie. The characters are all really compelling. I'm going to try not to spoil really anything about this. The main girl, Shauna, she's really great. Her acting is on point. She starts off talking about this is the summer that she got breasts. And her and her friend Pedro are hanging out, and then
she's like, "You gonna finish those tots?"
Yeah.
And she puts them in the pocket of her cargo pants.
Then she goes home and feeds Tina.
Mm-hmm.
But Tina won't eat.
Daydream.
Come on, Tina.
I don't know. Make one of them quesadillas.
He threw casserole at her.
So we find out, again, this isn't really a spoiler. You find out that Shauna's mother is sort of staying on her own because she has a drug crack problem, I think.
The only problem is she doesn't have enough crack.
And so as you find out, and again, it is a vampire movie. It's very upfront about that. The vampires are mostly preying on the homeless in New Orleans and people who are down on their luck, drug addicts, the homeless. And Shauna becomes aware of this. And so...
What?
I went offline for a second.
Somebody turned Kelley off and on.
Anyway, she kind of realizes.
You tickle your cord a little bit.
She realizes that usually brings me back to life. Anyway, she finds out kind of what's going on with vampires, and you get a lot of New Orleans in this, and there's a lot of social commentary on. It is very much an allegory for what happened to New Orleans after Katrina and the way the poor were treated and the way the entire city was treated and how people were personally affected, and it used vampires as sort of, and how drugs, flow through the communities, and how, poverty exacerbates that. It's just, there's a lot going on, and it is, again, it's very much just it's a vampire movie. It is kind of the loss of it. It's kind of Monster Squad-y, actually.
Because in the trailer, I know she was like carving steaks and everything. It just kind of took me back.
There's some, but it is completely a mature movie, and the acting is actually really solid, and there's some poignancy in it. Keith David is in it. You can't ever,
Bless that man.
You gotta love Keith David.
I love him. David Keith's okay.
Yeah, only okay.
I love Keith David.
It's just a really strong vampire movie. The vampires were good. They were mean and scary, and the action was good. There's just some interesting stuff, and just again, it's saying more than I thought. I was really pleasantly surprised. I watched this with Alise and Fozzie. For listeners who know who that is, most of you do, if not all of you, and they both really enjoyed it. Actually, they enjoyed the feature too. This was a week where everyone was like 100% on board with all the features.
I love those weeks.
A happy home.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Happy wife, happy life.
Happy movie wife, happy movie.
We
life.
were so cozy the other night. Oh, so cozy.
So cozy.
And I looked at Amy and I said, "This is a happy fucking home."
Yeah.
It is.
The dogs were curled up and we
had the same thing last night.
Yeah. I love those moments when you're just like, "I'm home."
Yeah.
What a nice feeling.
Yeah. What a feeling.
Which in our main attraction is not what happens.
It's not at all what happens.
It's not that.
It's the opposite.
It's very much the opposite of that.
Well, you know what? I'm going to put Black as Night on my list.
I think you should.
Yeah. I think I will. Because that's what I said.
Yeah.
I was going to do.
Well, I think you should.
Well, I think
I'm going to put your
better
Kiss on my list.
I was hoping you say, "Oh, it's going to be fun.
Oh,
it's going to be
gonna
good.
have some fun, and it's going to be good."
I'm going to put you on my list of the best of the class this year.
The ass this year.
The best of the ass.
I better be the best of the ass you've had this year, honey.
He's like top. He's like top 2 at least.
And it's November.
You see an ass with a graduation cap on.
Yeah.
I embarrass you for a second.
Yeah.
Elsa came in this morning and clearly had been doing the boot scoot out in the grass, and it was probably dewy and muddy. So she came in with a little muddy butt. So that Freddie's taking care of it in the kitchen, with a little wet paper towel, just get some of the mud off her butt. And then
she started liking it too much.
He said,
"That's all."
He's like, "I'm gonna stop. You're liking it too much."
Ugh.
And I don't know why that made me laugh, but she could be in your top 2 ass this year. I don't know.
But she's so sweet.
I know. She's a dog.
I want her to be happy, but not that happy.
She's trying to wipe the poop off her ass in the grass. Okay.
She got some stink.
Yeah, bring stink by.
She gave you some stink.
She's like, that's what I do.
That's what I do. So we're gonna get this Jack in the Box out, and we're gonna pass it around, and we're all gonna crank it.
I'm not.
Oh, Kelly's not.
I cranked it already.
He already cranked it. He gets a crank break.
I got to take a break from the cranking.
Carpal tunnel.
Yes, it's not good for your attendance.
Carpe
So
diem.
I'm gonna start with Andy. Andy, get to cranking, my friend.
Seize the fish, Andy.
Oh no.
Oh, wow.
I don't like how the cars just say loser on it.
Well, it's because I wrote it, and that seemed easiest.
I feel like you're calling us losers.
The losers.
Listen to them. Children of the night.
We don't really have a Jag in the Box.
What music they make.
It's just me shuffling 3 pieces of paper that say safe, loser. So the movie you're going to watch.
That was all mechanical, everything that you just heard.
What?
Andy, for next week.
What?
You will watch and review a little film that's on Shudder. That Shudder, they keep retweeting like glowing reviews of this movie. I'm intrigued. It's called The Medium.
Yeah, The Medium. I also thought about this.
Like a found footage it's supposed to be.
Yeah. An upgrade too large?
For 69 cents more.
Oh, thank you.
A horrifying story of a shaman's inheritance in the Isan region of Thailand. What could be possessing a family member might not be the goddess they make it out to be.
Well.
Sounds fun, but subtitles.
Well, I can't help you.
But then again, I watch most movies with subtitles now anyway.
Right.
Because, old age.
And hard of hearing. Mm-hmm. So The Medium. There you go.
The Medium.
Look
Small,
forward to
medium,
that.
at large.
Halfway trials and temptations. Is there trouble? And what a family had. Your mama, she was saying things. She would sit right beside him just whispering. But she wasn't talking to him.
We found it in her pocket. She didn't believe in God.
What's the matter whether you believe?
I found Mom's diary.
What if she saw something out there? I told y'all not to come. There are things in this world, horrible things, wicked, and they come for whoever they want.
I saw something.
She wasn't crazy.
Do you smell him? He's close now.
He's not out there. He's already here.
This film, The Dark and the Wicked, man. Whew.
Really, really great.
I would call this a masterpiece, honestly.
I'm super into it. I'm really digging this trend for the last several years of these like serious horror movies.
I think the beauty of this, and we will spoil the shit out of this. This is going to be an in-depth conversation.
And you definitely want to see this before you listen to the spoilers.
Yeah. So if you have Shudder, you can watch it there. It's one of those films that was supposed to be released theatrically, and the pandemic derailed the plans. It ended up on Shudder. Maybe just I don't feel like I had heard anything about this, and it had been on there a while. One night we just were doing Halloween Channel.
I don't think it would have been a wide release. I don't think that is.
It definitely was.
It was.
That was the plan. It was going out wide.
That's really surprising, actually.
Right. They had
such a quiet movie.
It does feel like it's better on as a VOD.
Well,
there's no like big stars in it, even though the main lady is a dead ringer for Terry Polo.
Yeah.
You can't tell me any different.
Look
her up.
The draw's the writer director. It's Brian Bertino who did the original The Strangers, and I think that's why they felt that like originally it was going to be a bigger movie, where even though he's only made like a few movies that I know of, I don't know a lot about his career, but I think that he carries some cachet that it's enough for them to release something like this around Halloween time and make a nice chunk of change off of his name. So I think that was kind of the plan, but it kind of did. It was just kind of under the radar.
Just the movie is just so low key that I don't think it's would have.
Well, A24. It's all like those A24 movies.
It's just hard to sell this movie.
I thought this would have fit in perfectly or almost perfectly with the A24 movies. And those were being released,
you know.
Yeah, I'll tell you, these movies are more appealing to the broad audience than you think.
I think those A24 movies are more edgy than this one. There was.
Oh, well, yeah.
This is so straightforward.
This movie's very traditional and straightforward. I feel like Brian Bertino is heavily influenced by Tobe Hooper and William Friedkin. He kind of takes all of Tobe Hooper's his aesthetic, but then he blends it with like the pacing and the quiet moments that Friedkin has, like especially like in The Exorcist, that sort of thing.
Yeah, this kind of reminded me, although it was different, of a movie I really loved from earlier this year, which is Anything for Jackson.
Yeah, that was really
good. This gave me some similar vibes to that. Although this had no humor as far as I can remember in it, whereas that had some moments of humor to offset some stuff, but very similar kind of build. Like with that, Anything for Jackson was even more like it had more going on, but the build in this and the way when the tension starts to ratchet is it's just really great. Yeah.
So this is Brian Bertino's family's farm or ranch. I don't know. In Texas, it always feels like it's a ranch.
Farm ranch.
But it's their, they filmed it on their land.
Oh, this is Texas. It didn't look like Texas.
Yeah, it's Texas. So, and what the story is, you get this great cold open where there's this elderly couple. The man is clearly in the dying mode. He's on oxygen and bedridden, and the wife is basically just working on her sewing and doing her normal everyday stuff, cutting vegetables and all that. And then there's this creature out in the pen with the goats. And really, it is like you were saying, Andy, it's so straightforward that this presents like a demon story as if a demon were just another thing that existed, like an animal. Like it's almost like an animal.
No, totally. Well, I mean, I think that's an idea of how, demons are just sort of like spiritual animals hunting, for what they want. I love, too, that there's no real explanation ever given why or where it came from. And I love that they just plop you right into the middle of it.
Don't you feel like that's his signature kind of in The Strangers? They asked, why are you doing this? They said, because you were home. I think the MO is exactly the same in this. Yeah. The demon, they compare it throughout the movie to a wolf.
Yeah.
And it feels like very old school, like very like Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Very much so, because there's wolves, there are wolves out there too, and then they keep coming up as a comparison.
Yeah, so like the wolves are a danger, but it almost feels like also this demon is like a the power that it has is where it feels like, when you're dealing with like a snake has venom, right? But this demon's ability is that it can kind of it's like the predator. It can manipulate
it's going to make you victims. Suicide.
Well, and what I love, this also very much reminded me of sort of it was like if Evil Dead was like completely dead serious. It takes this idea of the supernatural driving people so far to their breaking point that it's like, now you're both like, it's almost, you start to ask like, why am I even trying to survive at this point?
Right.
It really, there were a lot of places where it gave me Evil Dead vibes.
There's this great moment. Well, the movie, again, back at that open, she's singing this song. This sounds like a spiritual kind of song about Jesus. And it starts with that. And the movie also ends with that same exact bit.
Yeah.
Me and Amy watched this twice, like pretty close together. So, and then I went back and like there were moments I felt like I really wanted to really re-examine some scenes and went back and looked at them because there's still a thing I cannot wrap my head around.
He's trying to get to the answer of it, but I think what
There
you
is
were
no
saying
answer.
there isn't.
I'm not looking for the answer, but I'm looking for what the screenwriter intended for those moments. Not necessarily that I'm looking for an answer to anything like why is the demon's origin or anything like that.
Right.
I just want to know if something's a MacGuffin. In particular, I'm talking about the priest.
Right.
When we get to that. I'm sorry, Andy.
Oh no, it was like that was a problem for me. Like I don't necessarily need answers, but for me the movie was just repetitive. It was just creepy scene after creepy scene after creepy scene, and after you give me so many creepy scenes, I need something.
You wanted exposition.
I need something, a little bit,
Yeah.
like an inkling of something instead of just creepy scene.
See, I'm the opposite. Like, had they given me too much explanation, I would have written it off.
This movie is like not about the demon even. It's a metaphor.
Yeah,
for
it's
like
being a caretaker.
being a caretaker,
and
I think
family and guilt. Yeah.
I think that's why I didn't connect with the movie so much as you guys did, because I'm kind of in that situation.
See, that's what made me feel a deeper connection to it.
Yeah,
me too.
That made me connect more.
Yeah. So but you guys went through it, but like I'm kind of in that situation right now. I've been through it before, and
the caretaking.
Yeah.
You don't want to be like.
It's just like
you don't get the catharsis from it.
No, not yet. Maybe
Not yet.
Yeah.
after it's over, but
Yeah.
like right now it's just too close to home, and I understand what they were doing with like the creeping moments, like of like somebody's just lurking in the background. That's kind of like what my grandma's going through right now, like when she wakes up in the night and you hear her like hands like scrape against the wall for support, and it's like a ghost almost.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that's what they're going for this, like whether like there's just the mom lurking in the background or the dad just kind of.
And you're on edge when that happens, when you're taking care of someone who's that
and
ill.
It's like a metaphor because how much it infects other people's lives and brings it down.
Yeah, it does. When it reaches out to grab everybody around you, and then even to jump ahead, like even if you try to like put distance between yourself and it you kind of can't.
Yeah.
Like when he goes home,
right?
It still doesn't let him go.
It's still there. Yeah,
I did like that moment where the mom kept saying to both kids, like, you shouldn't have come home.
Yeah,
like she's trying to protect her kids from that.
Yeah, and so that's kind of the thing is. You get the impression, yet they never blatantly say it, that is it Sam? What's the other guy's name? The neighbor, Charlie. That you kind of get the impression that Charlie maybe was feeling overwhelmed with all of this and contacted the kids, and that they came home, partly because of him, because the mom definitely didn't want them to come home.
I think they came home because it's their dad.
They knew it was getting close.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, but also there's a few clues that they spread out in the beginning, like. One, the son is calling his wife and checking in on her and the kids, but it also says he feels nothing. He doesn't want to be there, and all that. But also Charlie later when Charlie has his moment with the demon, comes to him in the form of the daughter and says that you did this to me. And I was like, well, why would he be feeling that way?
Well, no, I think he does, because there's that scene at the beginning when they kind of run, and they're like, you've been taking care of my mom, so I think it is a matter of him reaching out and kind of saying like, hey, I think your dad is pretty close. You might want to come and help your mom out. Things aren't going so well. I think that.
Yeah, and that's the ripple effect, like you were saying, Andy. Like, it affects people.
Like, that's just manipulation on the demon's part.
Which piece
of the demon
Charlie
showing up and say, you did this to me?
Oh yeah, I know that, but
it's preying on your own guilt.
He has to have the guilt. So that's the thing about, like, that's why I think thematically it's so strong on the second viewing too. You go through and you're like, I can see how you manipulated this person because this happened, and that person because this happened. But there's one piece that has left me completely confused,
and it's what is the priest piece?
Yeah, and that's after the son sees the vision of his mother floating outside the barn.
Well,
because she had committed suicide.
Can I tell you what I think it is?
Oh yeah.
So I think the reason the priest appeared. Now I don't exactly understand why there is a real priest that he pranks her with. The demon pranks her and gives her a real person's phone number, but maybe we don't even. And I guess it really is the priest's name.
It's his name, but also her name is the same name as his daughter who committed suicide.
So I don't know if that was just like the demon was like, oh, this should be fun for you. Like it's like he Googled in the ethereal plane, like other girls. You
I
know,
have a theory though.
Well, hold on.
I think it was maybe I saw it as that priest is one of. He encountered the demon but got away. Not got away,
but he was a victim. Yeah, I get that.
The daughter was maybe the victim of the.
But why the confusing piece is
fucking with him?
But
still.
why does she have the same exact name and sound exactly like her?
Well,
that's
here's
the part that really threw me.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think the priest is a real person at all. Like that they see. That comes to actually visit them.
Yeah.
I think that he was supposed to, because their whole thing was there was no religion. There's no God. We don't believe in God. And I think it was to send them a religious, like sort of making fun of them. Like, oh, you don't believe in this? Well, I'm going to send a priest your way. And he's also going to, I think it came in the form of a preacher to because her son was so dead set against her. Also, he was the surrogate caretaker while they were away, and he kind of was a tool of telling them that they failed as caretakers. And she was pushed to God. Yeah, and that was the most shameful thing they could think of, is that they had. A lot of us who are
Left their
atheists,
mother alone.
Yeah, we feel like
she turned to God to help her. The kids come back. They're like, Mom didn't believe in God. And this priest is like, no, I was here every day. I counseled her. And, she totally loved Jesus. Then you find out later, this priest was never there.
Yeah. And there's this, they do a great job of like giving you this omen of his arrival, like by when the kids, and I love that they address that. They open this scene with, I know you don't normally do this, but the kids go to the morgue and they're in there with their mother, and the undertaker or the mortician gives them a bag full of little Sunday school crosses. Yeah. And she had been getting those. It seems like those are every day that the priest came to see her, he would bring a cross to her or something. And I feel like it's just, to me,
demon was just fucking trolling.
It's super deep though. Like that feels like a complete MacGuffin though, in a way where it's to give you something. You think you're going to get that exposition through that priest character, and then you think that you're also getting maybe some normalcy with the hospice nurse, who he is like a sitcom actress, which was interesting to see her in this. But and the Charlie's granddaughter, who comes up to the porch. That scene,
that was crazy.
Super chilling, because she's already keyed up and she's looking out at the ranch around her, and she doesn't know Charlie's committed suicide.
So this is where I started to get vampire vibes, and I know that's not what's really happening here. Yeah. So that Charlie's granddaughter comes to the farmhouse, but Louise is like super distracted because it's been spooky.
And this is spooky too.
Yeah, and then this girl, but like
it's like it.
She won't.
No, I get the vampire,
but she does eventually come in.
It's like the demon's like feeding on the grief and the fear.
I thought there might be vampire
like feeds on.
Well, it feels an awful lot like Tobe Hooper's Salem's Lot miniseries. There's a few moments in this. Yeah, the demon kind of the family's name is Straker.
No, I definitely I picked up on that too, and actually now that you say that, because it does feel like that. I thought of just in general, just like I was like, oh, I wonder if they're just a Stephen King fan, but actually that's a great point.
Well, the demon kind of looks like Barlow somewhat, like the blue Barlow from the Tobe Hooper movie.
Yeah, and on top of which, like in old vampires, people did just waste away.
Yeah.
And because she even talks about it, crawls up onto him at night and hurts him. So, I mean, it could,
dead mom floating outside the window.
They're absolute. I think that was a layer I hadn't even picked up on.
Well, Amy picked up on that. She picked up on the vampire stuff. And then I was like, what?
So
she's right.
I'm not even 100% sure that it's not,
I know that I am.
that it's not at all a vampire.
You know what it feels like? It feels like vampire in the raw. You know how you have like sugar in the raw?
Yeah.
It's an unrefined like vampire.
Right. It's like an energy vampire.
Yeah.
It's like a Colin Robinson.
It's like before we've put vampires through this cultural sieve, and now we have like this very specific idea of a vampire. Yeah. This feels old world.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Which makes it scarier to me.
That's actually, that's pretty awesome. So it's like you don't know for sure, but that's definitely a way you can go with it. I like that. Yeah.
But then there's also kind of the moment where she's in bed asleep with her dad. The daughter has taken on that caretaking role of overnight. I will sleep with my dad.
Yeah.
Not in a weird way. And something comes into the room and goes to her dad's side of the bed. She's facing away.
Yeah.
And it's making animal sounds like a wolf breathing or something. So is there like a werewolf contingent to this thing?
Well, I think, in Dracula, could take the form of a wolf,
right?
Or rats, or
I was just thinking about. There's also those little moments in this, like when he first turns up, you see the demon out there with the goats, but later, before the shit hits the fan for the mom, the demon literally pulls up a chair to watch her cut vegetables. Like that's what happened in that scene, and it's almost like he sat down in the room, and they come back to it later. And that's when he's like full bore has taken over and really fucked her life up. And you're just like, it's so eerie how much of this is like just common courtesy stuff about come on inside. Or the moment with Xander Berkeley was so good in this as the priest.
Yes.
But when he turns up at 3 a.m.
Oh my God, yeah.
And all he says is come outside.
That was so scary. Like
his
and he just kept saying it.
Well, the best part too, she goes, she said, don't go outside. And he says, yes, do.
Yeah.
Like he just says, it's so weird. It feels, and that's where I think the scene in particular where I felt like this was just a creature that was badly impersonating a person. It was like a predator impersonating a person to lure them in,
Yeah.
It's just so freaking eerie.
Yeah.
And for that character to be the one who does it, it felt like a moment from Prince of Darkness,
Yeah. But that priest wasn't a real guy.
Right.
Right.
That was a manifestation of the demon.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, how on Jersey Shore we make fun of Sammy Sweetheart when she says to Ronnie, I did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And she like elongates the word and adds another syllable.
We? More like you.
Like we.
I have no idea.
Royal me. But like in this movie, Xander Berkeley is extending the word out in this scene and adding like another syllable to it, but it's not wrong. It's like
it's sing-songy. Yeah.
No, it's like
it's so good.
Everything you're saying, I get, but
do you feel like we're not going to try to convince you to like the movie?
No, I'm just talking about
like it's well made, but it's like I've seen it before.
Well, it's a genre.
And no matter how many times
you hadn't seen it before, it wouldn't be a genre.
No matter times you even though it's done well, it's.
You want to be surprised. You don't appreciate the craftsmanship. I get it.
I appreciate the craftsmanship, but like, I just don't understand the effusive praise for it.
So like,
yep.
You and
You're
Freddy,
the fifth dentist. I get it.
So we were talking on Origins, and you said to Fred, like there was a situation where everybody hates it, but Freddy likes it, and you are the everybody likes it, Andy hates it.
Yeah.
That's kind of your thing.
That's true. We are two sides of the same coin, Andy.
Yeah.
We're not so different, you and I.
You're the poles.
Yeah.
We're like a two-faced.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Put them together.
Like, there were
They love
scenes
everything.
that I really liked in this movie, them just reading the diary.
Oh, her mom's
I thought
diary. Yeah.
Just that was really well done, and her just chopping vegetables at night.
That part where she chopped her hand
and
up.
just the sound of it, and just the repetitive sound of it. It reminded me of The Simpsons, where Bart was flying a kite at night, and Marge was like, "There's something just so unwholesome about it." And it's the same way about her just chopping vegetables that don't for no reason. Kind of.
It doesn't
disquieting.
It almost feels like she was totally like mechanical.
She's going through the motions. But she's at the same time in the clutch of the demon.
Yeah.
So she's not even herself, and she's doing these things that seem normal.
That's a repetitive theme throughout this too. Like because the nurse does the same thing.
Oh my gosh.
With the knitting.
The nurse's scene is one of the most unsettling, and I get what you're saying. Like you're right. All of these elements have definitely been used before. Where the praise comes from me is both in how it connects to the metaphor for the family tragedy and how it affects people, and how some people try to get away, some people feel like they can't leave, and then how it just no matter what it ties everybody in together. I think the clever and like the way they bring that subtext in, I think it is really solid and strong, and it comes through where I think a lot of movies are kind of heavy-handed, or you don't get it, or like you see what they were going for. I felt like this movie did it seamlessly, and like I said, it feels very much like an A24 movie in that there are layers to peel back. Like I did not, other than just again noticing that their name was Straker, I didn't peel back the idea until you said it. And I do think it's of vampires.
I do think it's like those are nice touches, but I do think Bertino is like got it dialed in. What the human drama part of it.
Yes.
That's why it feels good, even though it's messy.
Yeah.
Like everything doesn't tie up the way you think it will or that you want it to. It's very much like Oculus in that way.
Yeah, and I think that for me, because to me, it's just this is one of those things where it's just going to keep pushing and pushing. I already know that there's not going to be an ending that's good for anyone, and so I'm dreading what are they going to put me through up to the end of this movie, and I'm just hoping that it's not going to be worse than I think it's going to be, and I was surprised, like because I didn't know where it was going to end up, so for me it was just like this sort of dark ride roller coaster, like going, of like, what am I going to have to see and sit through before the end of this?
Yeah.
In terms of both grief, because again, the grief was very raw and like very,
well, those
real
moments
feeling.
where they're shell shocked, the brother and sister are drinking coffee and smoking, and I was like, oh my god, this is exactly a scene from the night my mom died.
Yeah, it's very it's very real, and so I think for me the praise comes in just again like it's so well done and well told, and it did it scared me and it took me on through this journey. So I thought it was just really good.
Yeah, I think I need some distance from this movie before I can.
I get it, man. I don't think I would want to see this when I was still.
I think the most powerful scene for me is when the brother actually leaves and the sister calls him up and says, "You left me."
Yeah,
and I kind of feel that way sometimes.
Yeah,
and I get why the brother left because everybody has their points where they can't take it enough,
and he has children.
Yeah, exactly. I get that
when it shows you both sides, because that's often, especially if there are multiple kids.
So like the brother is not a villain in that either.
No.
So like, and I totally get what she wants going through. Like, so it's just like I said, it's too close to home.
I mean, it's very similar to your situation with you. You have siblings who have children, and you're the single. Who is there.
Yeah.
So like I feel like it's almost too powerful in a lot of ways.
I was talking to a friend of mine that you all know whose mother passed away earlier this year. And we were just talking about other things, and she's like, "Hey, do you have any good horror movie recommendations for Halloween?" Because it's before Halloween, and I was like, "Oh, we just saw this movie, The Dark and the Wicked." And as I'm saying it, I'm like, "And never mind, don't watch it. It's not gonna be good for you right now."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oops, sorry."
It helped me actually process a couple of things that I had maybe still floating around in my head.
Oh, he's perfect now.
Yeah.
Now I'm basically perfect.
Too heavy for me.
Yeah, I get it. Man, I totally get that.
Yeah.
But it was another one. Alise really loved this one. Yeah. Fozzie, we didn't watch it with him, but he had said that he really enjoyed it.
Make you feel like connected to them. Like I felt a connection, a real connection to the characters, and I think to the writer. I think like this came from a real place.
It felt very real.
And that to me, like Andy, whereas you feel like it might feel traumatizing to you now, I feel like for me having that distance between becoming an orphan and not having to be a caretaker anymore. Basically, a little orphan Annie over here.
This movie did for me, like this captures for me what the novel Pet Sematary captures about the connection between horror and grief and loss and family. Like that, the first movie does okay, and the new one was what I hoped was going to really dive into it and didn't. This movie kind of gives me that same feeling of how those can mix and be gross together and used to enhance and exacerbate each other.
I hope they would give him a swing at some of King's intellectual property, especially Salem's Lot. I think he could do some amazing stuff with that.
Somebody's already working on that.
That's an interesting trend right now. Like, I feel like a lot of horror movies are addressing grief and trauma.
Yeah, well,
like,
it's strong.
We as a society are more open about it.
Like The Night House, I think really
that was really good.
addressed that really well. And like the A24 movies like Hereditary and Midsommar. I think it's like an interesting trend right now. I don't know if like I really like it, but maybe it's just so heavy.
I really like a good serious, but I like I like a good serious supernatural horror movie, or I don't know how supernatural Midsommar was, but a horror movie, not necessarily.
But I can take Midsommar better and Hereditary better because it's more of a cartoony universe, whereas like this and The Night House are so grounded.
Yeah, Hereditary seemed pretty. I mean, I feel like it's very similar. Yeah, I felt like that was pretty grounded.
Quick question: what do you guys think? There's a scene where there's a goat who has been attacked, is running through the field, and it's clearly one of its legs has been bitten off, but it's running. And I was like, the first time we watched it, and then Freddie said my same question because he's a doofus, was, do you think they got a tripod goat?
No.
Or did they put a little green sock on that goat?
They probably did a green sock.
So they could do a green screen on him.
But it can't be hard to find a 3-legged goat.
Right.
It feels like something, there's probably just a ton of them.
I don't know.
Anyway, it was
the little baby goats are adorable in this movie, too.
They are.
Yeah.
I'd have goats.
I need to see a picture, Mr. Bertino, if you are listening. I need to see a picture of the goat in a green sock. Need it.
I'd want to know what the inspiration for this priest, like what the purpose, because I think it's a MacGuffin. I think
it shows you that the demon is everywhere.
Oh no, I mean but what I mean is you can't resolve that piece. Like I don't think that it definitely serves a story purpose.
So wait a minute, I don't think I understand what you don't understand. Yeah. I do not think you're using that word the way.
Yeah, what are you trying
I feel like the priest character is not really a character at all. He's he literally just turns up in the story to make the story make a turn,
to be spooky.
Well, yeah, he is just. Well, I mean, I think it's the demon again, like foisting in their faces that it doesn't matter if you believe the devil.
Well,
believes in you.
I get why he had to be in there to have that conversation, but what I mean is him as an actual person in Chicago in a hotel room. That's what I mean by that. It's like I think the fact that he is in another place and they pull that very David Lynch style.
It was. I also said it's very David Lynch.
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of the demon fucking with them more because gaslighting them,
and just to show its power,
to make them think like, "Am I going crazy?" When like they talk to this person that said, "Like that's not me."
It's a very unsettling touch.
It's gaslighting and making them think they're crazier.
I do like that. I can't figure it out. If I would probably be disappointed with the answer to that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. And I tell you what, the way I thought about it again is with Lynchian stuff in. Especially ghost, especially where like madness and the supernatural really walk hand in hand, a Shining kind of situation. There's a story that I read in an anthology about basically what is a haunted house, but it slowly makes everyone in the house go crazy, and they just start doing small weird. It's just these like little things that are just off enough, and like the writer started to pepper like these weird little just details and moments in as they went, and they didn't make any sense, but that was like the point of it, to show like everything slowly like
repulsion,
like everything coming apart. Like
the cracks in the walls.
Yes,
and like the last 10 years of our country.
Yeah, like the world is crumbling right now.
It's creepy to see the little changes.
Not as slow as you think.
Well,
didn't they do that? Did they do that in Jacob's Ladder too, with the little things? Well, that was one problem I had with this movie. The one and only thing that bothered me was they didn't need to use the head shaking effect when the dad came to the shower. I think it cheapened the scene.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I would change.
And black contacts too. You don't need black contacts for every demon or ghost.
Well, he had cataracts.
They had white contacts on the priest.
Yeah.
The guy who plays Michael, the brother, according to IMDb, he used to be internationally known Elvis impersonator.
But he was not known to rock a microphone.
I don't know about that.
He came to get down. But
The Dark and the Wicked.
real quick about the girl who comes to the porch. That actress.
Oh,
I just had to
that's
say,
the
she
black
was so
contacts
good.
I was talking about.
Oh, did she have them? Okay.
Did she?
Yeah, at the very end when like she collapses and
I didn't even
the
notice
little girl like said something to her and she has the black contacts.
Because she kind of had dark eyes anyway, so that doesn't feel like a huge leap.
One last thing before we get away from vampires and Stephen King in this. Actually, I was going to say, it also very much reminded me of It in that it would use real people and influence them to do and say things. And like that little girl is a real person.
Right.
And she was really there, but like it's like for a moment it takes.
Don't you feel like they're like baby? I said the second time we watched it, I was like, it's like all the people are baby monitors that the demon can tune into.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of like what it would do.
Because you'll see those moments where the character is either hearing the demon talk to them,
which they say often.
Yeah.
We didn't mention the part where, as the nurse is fucking stabbing herself, and she says, "Can't you hear him?" Like there are different moments where they talk about, "Can you hear it?" It's so creepy.
Can you smell it?
Yeah, can you smell him? Like it's a great demon movie.
Yeah. Well, that scene with the little girl reminded me of that scene from It Part 2.
Yeah,
where Jessica Chastain goes to that old house.
To see your old lady.
That old lady's that's just in the background acting all creepy and weird.
I love that moment. I know that it was both horrifying and hilarious.
And very funny.
Well, it's a great moment.
So we need to talk about Michael's end though, real quick, because I feel like that was.
Yeah, let's end on a bummer.
Yeah. Well, the movie ends on a bummer.
The demon tricks him into killing himself. He thinks his whole family is dead when he gets home.
It's such a shocking moment.
They aren't. It's a hallucination. And as he dies, they come home and see him.
This is another thing about like even when you make the decision to distance yourself and you say, I have this other life. There's nothing more I can do here. I'm gonna take care of myself.
This is a toxic relationship, so it's part of my self-care. I'm going to leave.
And then how even then you can't necessarily escape it. And so Michael goes home and like it looks like his wife has murdered their two daughters and killed herself, and then he cuts his own throat.
It's super
with
chilling.
a pocket knife.
And was he then when he realized it? Was he
where-
trying to stop it? Was that why he was holding his hand up to his throat?
Yeah, once he realized they were. Yeah, once he realized they weren't really dead.
His pearls like
He saw that they weren't there the minute he did it.
Yeah.
Once it was too late.
The demon's like, thanks,
That
bye.
was the missed moment.
He was like, "You got me."
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I got my family and they cut up in these bags here.
Shit, this is on me. God damn it. Well, fuck. That's what it was.
Yeah, that part really was like, oof.
Mm-hmm.
That was a rough moment. It kind of reminded me of Session 9 a little bit.
Or The Mist, yeah.
Yeah.
And the mom came home with like a box of pastries.
Oh, yeah, she had some Dunkin'.
He missed the fucking donuts.
And now those are infected with grief. And
That's right. They'll never be able to eat Dunkin' Donuts again. Actually, Fozzie had said this was a lot like Session 9. It reminded him of Session 9.
Yeah, the moments of...
Which is a movie I do not like because I've seen it once. I'm going to revisit it now.
Fuck you.
It's actually really creepy if you just
I like
relax
it okay.
but
I need to
didn't
go
like
back
it.
to it. I think try again.
I remember being disappointed by
I remember being told this was so wonderful and I didn't feel it, but maybe I will.
It's a specific, like...
You're specific.
It's specific. It's like a specific... It's like, I feel like Sassafras. I just feel like when these movies first start coming out with these kind of real slow, intense horror movies, I don't know that we wanted that as an audience. I'm like you and me. Like I feel like when that first came out, it was really scary, but also we were like, I wish there was bigger effect scenes. Or
I don't know if that was the feeling I had.
It
wasn't
just
me.
is what it is.
I just didn't like that
Sometimes
one.
things don't hit me right.
No, what I mean is like I'm talking
Why don't
about
you get
like
the fuck out of here, motherfucker?
Amy in particular.
Dum Dum needs some more
action scenes. Let's think about at that time
Amy,
your favorite movie was
Here's
like
why you
Charlie's
didn't like the
Angels.
movie.
I think, Amy, what you don't understand is that you're not as good as the people who like this.
His legs are spread so far apart right now.
I think that you wanted something flashy.
Sometimes I do, sure.
Was that your problem with Session 9?
Oh no, I don't. It's been so long since I've seen it. I don't remember.
It is.
I remember being slightly bored.
She
and
fell asleep.
Sometimes slow burns really will fuck with me, and I don't like it.
She wants a spectacle.
I didn't think
but
I was
not
gonna
anymore. I'm saying your tastes have changed somewhat.
when I.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Oh my God, shut the fuck up. I didn't expect to like The Dark and the Wicked. He had to be Freddy about it.
Because you're a different person now. Your tastes have changed, Amy.
Your tastes have changed.
I've molded you into the perfect wife. into liking what I like.
I hate you.
I got this blonde wig over here.
Well, anyway,
Here's your taffeta.
Negging works.
Cannot wait for my next therapy.
I was also not into session 9. I felt like it was a letdown.
You know what your problem is?
He's immune.
I am immune.
You and Aaron Rodgers.
You're not going to Hannibal Lecter him.
I'm just fucking with you, Amy. I don't know.
Anyway,
You're allowed to be bored, people. I don't give a shit. You think I care?
you clearly do. Anyway,
You're allowed to not enjoy the beautiful works of art.
Can you tell me why I didn't like this movie?
Andy, let me tell you, you guys just don't appreciate fucking anything. That's what it is. You're ingrates. And I think that these filmmakers, you should be licking their feet.
All right, listeners.
You know how much work it takes to make a movie?
Tell us a movie you didn't like, and Freddie will tell you why you're wrong.
That should be your show.
I'm going to do the opposite of what the Rotten Tomatoes people do, where your favorite movie sucks. I'm going to tell people, I'm going to build up bad movies.
Your sucky movie is your favorite.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is great because it's not. It's terrible. See, I know what a bad movie is.
It is.
All right.
That's your credentials. You take out a card that says worst movie is.
I'm like, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is terrible. The Pest is a bad movie. See, I know some things. I like everything else but those
Stinky Dinky. As long as I get Stinky Dinky.
Yeah,
if you're gonna give me Stink every week,
yeah, as long as Dustin calls in every year and gives us a rap, and I'm fine with that movie.
Stinky Dinkies.
Mm-hmm. So let's thank those patrons.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you glad
Let's
that you
say hi
paid
to the
for this?
Beelzebubs. Patreon.com/NOTLP if you want to do that.
I want to lick Steven Spielberg's boots.
So we're going to say hi to our Beelzebubs right now because they are the people who have spent the most money.
George Lucas can do no wrong.
What'd you say about?
I said I bet he hardly ever wears boots.
Yeah.
George Lucas does no
Freddie?
wrong. I kid.
Can you read the names,
Yeah.
please?
Alise.
Aw,
Alise, you're just so lucky.
Yeah.
She is.
Thanks.
You know, Alise, you get excited about movies. You agree with me that all movies are great, right? It's a magical medium.
Can I also come live with you guys?
Amanda Geletko. I bet you want me to let this go. Ernie Perez. Mark Watts. Bill Farner. Blake Heath. Jeremy Cassie and Gamora Burmeister.
Hello.
Jeff L. Iona Goodwin.
On a great one.
Joe Juvland. We learned on the meetup, right?
Yes, because it's like Grooveland.
Branan and Emily. Bill Chandler. Blayne Turner. Monica Martinson.
Yeah.
Paul Gauthier.
What up, Paul?
Dr. Bryan.
Yeah.
Dave Siebert.
Yes, he is.
Dave C. Bert. Bert C. Dave. Carla Gibson. Alyssa Boehm. Dustin Chisam and Ace. Wonder Dog. And last but not least, Lynn Walsh.
I come from a Lynn down under.
Our Lynn down under.
That was a big one.
Yeah.
That was real good, Kelley.
You go big or you go home.
That's what I always say.
Oh, before we leave, can I plug something that I was in?
Please don't.
Cronky Don.
Yes, please.
It was a butt. I recently guested on our friend Joe Charnuz's new podcast, Small Town Failing.
Small Town Failing.
Yeah.
As in Hallmark movie, Small Town Failing bookstore.
Yes. So we talked about Pumpkin Pie Wars. So if you want, just give that a listen and follow Joe and all the socials. Small Town Failing.
If you want the tea on Small Town Failing.
And if
Pumpkin Pie Wars.
There's links on our socials too. So
Did anybody die?
If you're interested, I know you're probably not. Good.
Lots of pumpkin pies gave their lives.
Andy, do you feel like it's a movie that I would
now.
hate because it's not flashy enough and doesn't have enough special effects?
I'm not the person to tell you that why you didn't like it. Freddie is the person.
Freddie.
Yeah.
Freddie, do you think I'm not gonna like it because it's not flashy enough and doesn't have enough explosions?
I know Joe, and I'm guarantee there's at least one explosion.
All right, fine.
Probably a pumpkin pie explosion.
Yeah.
Explosion of
Did the
laughter.
pumpkin
Or a
pie
rocket
explode?
fire explosion.
There is a lot of pumpkin pies.
Okay.
Not so many explosions.
All right.
Emotional explosions, maybe.
Yeah. Did you guys hold each other and rend garments and weep?
Exactly. We were naked too.
Because everything's about dealing with grief these days, including small town failing.
Well, it's like Charlie Brown says. I got a rock.
Oh, poor kid.
I don't think
you thought I was going to say good grief, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Grief's good. Grief, for lack of a better word, is good.
Love you guys.
Gordon Griefo.
Good night.
Frankenstein was wondering if he should go to bed when his old buddy Leatherface put on Dawn of the Dead, and Igor made the nachos in a severed human head, and they enjoy the movie with their friends. David Kessler walks the streets of London on four legs, while high above him Ellen Ripley finds some funny eggs, and Freddy laughs at Nancy in her nightmares as she begs to have just one more moment with her friends. In a world where evil isn't always just pretend, and it seems as though the darkness never ends, give me lots of popcorn and some time that I can spend to watch some monster movies with